this military thing is not right for the planet. It's not right for freedom. It's not right for our history. And for us as living souls, it's just terrible. And it's ongoing, but we can stop it. We just have to take these series of steps to regain control over our freedom.
I think it's going to take a long, long time because I hate to say it, humans are savage. Have you ever see a car accident and where somebody probably was killed and they got the, blanket or sheet over them? Have you ever noticed how the people have to gather and gawk at the corpse and the wreck scene, and then they just stare and say, "Oh my God, that's horrible!" But they don't walk away; they stare. It's like they're entranced in watching somebody's blood lifeline just drip down the road. People are savages, and I think it's going to take a lot of time for that to go away. I just don't think it's going to happen in my generation or your generation or your kids' generation. We're bred that way. I mean, we're savages.
I know, you're right. We're beasts. Us humans, we are literally beasts. We just can speak and we have thumbs, but everybody loves a train wreck or a car wreck. I totally agree with you. And, I've been looking at life. Why am I here? What is the purpose of life in general? And I feel like I'm here to free us. If you're free financially, you can go and live your life as a train wreck if you want to. We're here on vacation, I think, as living souls. And we should have the freedom to travel, to live, to have fun, to have low stress, and enjoy this Garden of Eden or whatever it is in which we're living. I mean, but we're immediately thrust into slavery. So, yeah, I know we're beasts, and I know we like to party. In fact, I'm writing a book that addresses this whole subject about life really is about a party. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but they've taken that away from us. They're killing us early. They're poisoning us. They're enslaving us financially.
I got to interrupt you. I got to interrupt you. One of my listeners last week sent me, and I'm going to be talking about it next week, sent me a thing. If they're eventually worried about a major virus coming in and affecting a lot of people. And basically, anybody over 60 years old, from what I'm reading on what this guy sent me, everybody over 60 years old isn't going to get any treatment. They're just going to be left to die because they don't have the resources to, and they also look at people at 60 and above as basically not going to benefit the state.
Yeah, they're just going to say women and children first, and they're going to treat, I guess, in age order, huh? The younger they're going to treat.
Yeah, the younger you are, the better chance you have. When you hit like 60, according to this thing, if a virus broke out or some type of thing happened, you're not going to get help because they're going to look at 60 years old. You're pretty much done for anyway. You're not going to be able to really contribute much more to society. So they are going to put their resources into younger people that can contribute to society and keep society going.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. I mean, it seems like they've been building toward this over time. Even if you look at the movies that have come out about that, it's almost like it is a conditioning. They condition our subconscious mind for certain realities to possibly play out, and they condition it through us watching a movie or a TV show about, a movie called Outbreak or something like that. And what does that do? I've studied hypnosis, and when you sit in front of a TV, you immediately, within about 30 seconds, you go into a hypnotic state, meaning your conscious mind, your reasoning mind, drops its barrier that covers the subconscious mind. And when your conscious mind is receded and your subconscious mind is forward, your subconscious mind can receive direct programming. That's why it's called programming. So when you're in a hypnotic state, whether it's through a hypnotist or watching TV or even reading a magazine or whatever, what has happened is you're trusting the source. That's basically what it is. Your conscious mind is not reasoning anymore or blocking the source that's coming. It's almost like neurolinguistic programming. If I say to you, hey, Gary, I don't want to sound rude or anything like that, but blah, 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 blah. I've removed your defense mechanism by apologizing first, then I've given my direct command. I don't want to sound rude, but listen, lend me your motorcycle next weekend so I can take it down the coast to L.A. I'll come back. Okay? Boom. Now, it's a neurolinguistic programming technique. I've lowered your resistance. I've given a direct command, and by using that command statement. So when you're in a hypnotic state in front of the TV, your subconscious mind is receiving the programming of what outcome they want you to see. So if they have movies like Outbreak, like I said, that talk about these viruses or contagions that come out and cause like the zombieism or the zombie apocalypse or just mass death from a virus, now that whole scenario has played out several times in your subconscious mind, and it's not a far-fetched idea for it to happen. So if and when it does happen, based on the CDC in Atlanta maybe releasing some virus into the air through some aerial spraying, you're not going to, you're going to have already been programmed to react a certain way, and that's either going to be violently or you're going to just crawl in a corner and die. You're going to go out and loot and say, this is it, this is the Armageddon, and you might die crazy in the streets of a virus, or you'll just be at home dead.
Yeah, just laying in bed with your arm around your wife or your girlfriend and just succumb.
That's why I think if everybody could really understand what hypnosis is, if you just read an article or a book, I read a book called Hypnosis, it's a little white book. It explains what hypnosis is. You'll be able to see clearly how it's being used in mass media. And if you study neurolinguistic programming...
Go into a department store, Ronald. You're listening to that music, and I know for a fact, because I used to manage at one point, also in my life, a large department store, and you know what? The music they have, embedded in that music, they're telling you to buy things. And you're listening to the music, right? You think you're listening to this easygoing music, but you're being brainwashed while you're in that store to buy things more than you would normally buy.
I agree. It's everything in there is happening by color design, lighting, the way the shelves are set up. I mean, you can't blame these businesses. They're going to do whatever they can to make the consumer spend every dollar possible when they step into their doorway, and so that's just the nature of the beast. And that's the thing. It's all, again, the root cause of that evil, of that programming, of that hypnosis and that manipulation is the Federal Reserve, the monetary system. And, I don't see anything wrong with industriousness, people using scarcity or a need for ingenuity and designing new things that benefit mankind. I think that's great. I think we are a pretty smart beast for the things that we've invented. And I think there's a lot of inventions that are being kept from us. But we have a chance to change things so that everybody has the ability to be worth something and there's no more homelessness. That's the whole purpose behind why I'm even having this conversation with you, is to really end homelessness. When I was living in Los Angeles, I intentionally thrust myself into the world of being homeless. And I lived on the streets of L.A., and I saw and felt what it was like for months. 9 months I lived on Skid Row in Hollywood because I was working and I wanted to save my money, and I just couldn't afford to make my movie and, pay my cast and crew and pay my rent at the same time. So I said, I'm just going to go forego rent and live homeless and just work, save my money, pay, live on the bus, do whatever I have to do. But I felt it and saw it, and now what I understand about the monetary system and the whole government structure is that it's just a complete fraud. There's no need for homelessness and poverty. And so my whole reason for being here is to end this torture that they're purposefully inflicting upon us. And I just cannot stand to see it anymore. So I'm taking action, and, talking to you and your audience is part of this whole process of taking action, so that other people will be inspired to take action and at least send out a promissory note, at least start getting the paperwork ready to remove yourself from the jurisdiction of the state. Because if we don't do anything, then it's not going to get better. It is only going to get worse. And I'm not being a fearmonger. I'm just saying there's a track record for what's going on, and it's headed in the wrong direction.
Wait till they start saying you have to be chipped.
Yeah, they're already there. Look, this is what they do. They've already started putting the information out. It's not going to be a surprise, right? You're talking about it. I've heard about it. We've been hearing about it for years. They've already worked out the kinks on pets. They've been shipping pets for years. The system is in place. They're just, massaging the public so that they make us ask for the chip. It's problem, reaction, solution. Ordo ab cal. It's the Hegelian dialectic method of creating a problem on purpose. The government will create a problem. They will make us where we're so much in need for a solution that we're like, we need somebody to take care of this. What's the solution? Then they say, oh, well, we have the solution. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to chip you. And the public, no matter how much they would have resisted before, have been put into a situation that's been manufactured where they're begging for a solution. And that's part of the whole Albert Pike process. They're going to, in this Third World War, which is the global war on terror, which we're in the middle of the Third World War right now, which is kind of wrapping up because now you can see from the rhetoric from Trump that we're heading into the space alien war. That's going to be, I guess, the fourth war, which is going to bring us into the New World Order and the Luciferian doctrine.
I don't know what is
setting
going to
us
happen.
up for chipping.
I'm really worried.
We're being set up to be chipped.
Well, you know what? I don't understand people. I don't understand what's going on. Is it just a few of us out there that really realizes what's going on with even the elections right down the line? I mean, a normal person wouldn't have voted for either one, and let alone let them run for government. I mean, let's face it, and the things have really got out of control. And you know what it takes is you having, a good looks. Number one, you got to have good looks. You have to have money. And if you have good looks and money, you can go a long ways in politics. That's just a fact.
And if you're willing to be a corrupt Satanist, rapist, pedophile, blood drinker, I think that also helps your trajectory as a politician. But I'll tell you something. Let me say this. I heard what you just said about how, it's really bad out there and the most of the people just don't understand. Like, you and I get it, and I understand it, and now we're putting out the information. I think things are a lot better now than they used to be. Because think about it. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we didn't have internet the way it is now. We didn't have YouTube and Facebook. We didn't have podcasts and radio shows like this. We didn't have this kind of movement. So as bad as it might seem right now, and as lost or as sheeple as we might be right now as a group, I think the number of sheeple are diminishing. I think the number of people who are under some hypnotic daze and don't really see the truth is diminishing. There is an awakening going on. My first book that I wrote in this Second Coming of the Messiah trilogy series is Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening. I think right now we are going through the process of the awakening. When I wrote that book, right after I resigned from the government, I wrote about these very things that I'm actually doing right now, about this person who left the government and figured out the solution and started helping usher in the awakening, which would lead us through some type of an apocalypse, which would change the entire world and then lead us into 1,000 years of peace. So I think you should really rest assured to know that it's better than it was as far as our understanding and the population waking up to the conspiracies going on around them. And now we are at the situation where we can reach a lot of people and affect a change.
But the other problem is, we're in the position where a lot of people could, that's the magic word, could. A lot of people won't. They just don't want to, they're scared to. They don't want to make waves. They don't want to have somebody knocking on their door or listening to their phone conversations or reading their emails. So they just, you know what? They're like lambs to the slaughter. They just stand there and they know something's up, but they don't do anything about it, And
well, there's a lot of people who are physically